Good morning, dear students. Welcome back again with the next session of composition of matter, in which we are going to discuss about various types of mixture with the help of certain experiments here. Now, though this part is not there in your syllabus, in short, I am going to explain here. Take three beakers. First beaker containing sand and water, second beaker containing blue vitriol and water, and third beaker containing blue vitriol and sand. Now, after stirring it, what do we get? Sand does not dissolve in water, and therefore we get two layers, and therefore it is called as heterogeneous mixtures. Whereas blue vitriol with water, blue vitriol dissolves in water, we get only one layer of blue color, that is called homogeneous mixture, because only one layer is there. Similarly, blue vitriol and sand mixed in a, and they are insoluble, and therefore two layer is formed, and therefore it is called as heterogeneous. Now same experiment is repeated, and what do we get? In second case only, the two substances are dissolved with each other, and therefore only one layer is called, that is called homogeneous. Whereas in first and the third case, insoluble substances are there, and therefore two layer is formed, therefore it is called as heterogeneous. Now in another experiment, again we have to take a three beaker. Each first beaker containing common salt, second containing sawdust, and third milk with 100 ml of water. What do we get here? In the first beaker, common salt with water, separate phase is not seen, and therefore it is transparent, पारदर्शी बोल सकते हैं हिंदी में. Components are not separated by filtration. Then sawdust means that powdered form of wood, which is insoluble in water, so components can be separated by the filter paper. But if we consider milk and water, now separate aqueous phase is not seen, two different layer is not seen. It is called translucent. Here it is not completely transparent nor opaque, and therefore new word is used, that is called translucent. And components are not separated by filtration. Now all these experiments can be done in short form or explained in short. Here mixtures are broadly categorized into homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. The part of matter which has uniform composition is called as phase. The homogeneous mixture of all the components of a mixture form a single phase. Then in a homogeneous mixture, the components of a mixture are distributed into more than one phase. The homogeneous mixture of two or more substances, one which is called solution and the other is called solute. Then number 6, solvent is that component of a solution which is present in the largest proportion, and the components in the solution which is present in the lesser component is called as solute. Then eighth point, solution can be of many types. It can be in solid, in liquid, liquid in liquid, gas in gas, solid in solid, and gas in liquid, etc. In a solution, solute and solvent are very small and can pass through filter paper. The size of it is very small. They can pass through the filter paper, and, and therefore it is very difficult to separate. Suspension is a heterogeneous mixture of liquid and in a solid. Solid particles in a suspension are larger than 10 to 4 millimeter in diameter. The solid particles in a suspension can be separated by filtration. Now, if a light is passed through a suspension, then clearly it is not visible to the other side. Light cannot pass through a suspension. The colloid is a heterogeneous mixture where the particle size is 10 raised to minus 5 meter. The particle is a colloidal solution, cannot be separated by using ordinary filter paper. Now, another experiments, in order to identify the mixture and the compound, difference between mixture and the compound. Here, iron filings sulfur are mixed in a dish. The color of the matter black color and yellow particles of sulfur. Now, effect of horseshoe, when horseshoe is rotated, all the iron filings gets attracted towards the horseshoe magnet, and yellow particles are separated from the iron filings. But when iron filings and sulfur are heated together, then black color particles can be seen, and yellow color particles, and the yellow particles disappears. Now what has happened here? A compound is formed in a fixed proportion. Now when you rotate the horseshoe magnet, then the compound does not attract, means it has lost its property, original property. Inference: when the elements iron and sulfur form a mixture, they retain the respective properties. Hence, black and yellow particles of iron and sulfur respectively can be distinctly. When iron and sulfur are heated together, the compound is formed, and the properties of the compound formed are different from the constituent elements, and hence yellow color of the sulfur disappears. Now here molecular formula of some compounds are given in the following table. Now you have to fill in the gaps. Now if you can solve this only if you know what is valency. So first of all we'll go through the examples, and later on we'll try to find out what is actually valency. You can see here molecular formula of water is H2O. Constituent elements of water is what? H and O. And the number of atoms, hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 1. You can see H2O, hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 1. Whereas in case of hydrogen sulfide, hydrogen chloride, constituents hydrogen and chlorine both are 1 1. Methane CH4, C and H constituents, carbon is 1, hydrogen is 4. Similarly, magnesium chloride MgCl2, Mg is 1 and Cl is 2. Now, this table will definitely to some extent help you to understand what is actually valency and how valency is responsible in forming the compounds. You can see here HCl. Constituents are hydrogen and chlorine. Valency of hydrogen is 1. Chlorine also is 1. And therefore, number of bond forms with hydrogen, X is halogen. Halogen means fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. With the hydrogen. So here valency is 1 because hydrogen and chlorine both are 1 1 and therefore valency is 1. Now water, hydrogen, of course 1 valency. Now X is here oxygen, and now hydrogen valency is 1, oxygen valency is 2. Now valency will be interchanged and the compound form will be H2O. Now you have to find out the relation. You can see the relation here, and with the help of this you can find out how, with the help of valency, we can form a compound. You can see here H2S, H and S are the constituents. Valency of hydrogen is always 1, but valency of sulfur is 2. Therefore valency of X will be 2. Number of bond formed is 2, valency is 2. Number of bond formed is 3, valency is 3. Number of bond formed is 4, valency will be 4. You can see now, easily recognize. Now NH3, hydrogen valency is 1, nitrogen 3 bonds are there, and therefore valency is 3. You can see HBr, valency of both hydrogen and bromine is 1, bond is 1, and therefore valency of X is 1. HI, hydrogen valency is 1, bromine ka valency we don't know, but we know that 1 bond is formed and therefore valency of bromine is 1. Similarly HI, hydrogen valency we know it is 1, but only 1 bond is formed, we know it, and therefore valency of iodine is 1. Similarly CH4, I'll directly move to CH4, hydrogen valency is 1 and bond formed is 4, and therefore the valency of carbon is 4. Now by this time you should have understood now how valency plays an important role in formation of the compound. Now here, with the help of this information, we can complete this table here. You can see here element carbon and hydrogen is there. Valency of carbon is 4, hydrogen is 1. Valency is interchanged. Compound formed is CH4. N and H, nitrogen is 3 valency, hydrogen valency is 1. If you interchange the valency, the compound formed is NH3. Similarly, ferrous and sulfur, both valency is 2, but 2:2 can be reduced to 1 is to 1, and therefore the compound formed is FeS, not Fe2S2. It is reduced. Then carbon and oxygen. Carbon valency is 4, oxygen is 2. Now 4 is to 2. It can be reduced to 2 is to 1. And therefore valency is interchanged and the compound formed is CO2. So here, with the help of few examples, I like to explain how valency plays an important role in formation of the compound with explanation. You can see here example here. Hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen valency is 1, oxygen is 1. Step 1, write the symbol of the constituent of elements hydrogen and oxygen. Step 2, write the valency below the respective. Hydrogen ka valency 1, oxygen ka valency 2. Then cross multiply, and at last the compound formed is what? H2O. Similarly, for the next example, nitrogen valency is 3, hydrogen valency is 1. First write the symbol, second step write the valencies, third step cross multiply the valencies, and fourth step the compound formed is what? NH3. Similarly for ferrous sulfide, write the symbol, then write the valencies below it, then cross multiply. Now but here after cross multiplying here, the ratio is same and it is reduced to 2 is to 2 is reduces to 1 is to 1, and therefore the compound formed is FeS. Now this can further be more explained properly with the help of this example. Valency of hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen are 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Molecular formula of these gases are H2O2 and 2 respectively. How many chemical bonds are there in these molecules? Valency of hydrogen is 1, and hence the number of bonds formed between two atoms of hydrogen molecule is 1. Valency of oxygen is 2, bond will be 2. Valency of nitrogen is 3, bond will be 3. Now we are near to complete this lesson here. Now we are going to gist out the compounds now, how the compounds are formed with the help of the valency and what is valency. In short, compounds are formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed proportion. Molecular formula represents the number of atoms of each of the constituent elements present in one molecule of a compound. Molecular formula of a compound can be written using the symbol of the constituent elements and the respective valency. Valency of an element is a measure of its ability to join with the other atom. It is indicated by the number. By the method of cross multiplication, molecular formula of a compound can be written, and with the help of known valencies of the constituent elements. So here we have covered up the whole topic of this lesson. So I hope so. Doubts are if any doubts are there, you're most welcome in the personal number. Till then, next time we'll meet with the new lesson. Till then, have a great day.